Death Spiral, the only anime podcast that has taken the Hypocratic oath. First, do no hate. And I really want to underline that because this week we might sound like pure haters. This really might come across as just full on hating for the hate of the game. And I just want to make it clear that is not true. This show stands for you.
No, I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to apologize. I am going to be hating this week. I'm going to be hating to a magnitude that you haven't seen before out of me, and I'm going to be proud of it. Some stuff deserves to get hated on. It's natural and good and part of the grand equation. Some stuff deserves to be hated.
Now, that is obviously understood. That is a core pillar of the show. But I want to make sure, considering the roster of shows we have on the docket today, that we are not doing this frivolously.
Oh, no, it's targeted
These shows, honestly, are truly bad and deserve punishment, like pain. And when we are delivering that pain, I want to make sure that the audience knows that these shows truly deserve it.
I mean, I've been joking at the end of each episode the last 3 weeks that I'm really, scraping the bottom of the barrel with these picks. But I think we are legitimately, honestly here at this point. This is the bad end. This is the unfiltered end of the pool here, people.
Well, I for one, unfortunately have had to, due to circumstances, draw the line here. I am done. These are the last premieres I'm watching for this season. Even though there are more shows, obviously, many shows. Not even just the isekais we left off the list, intentionally, because I'm just not dealing with that shit. Specifically, some of the ones that were this season, including Ugly Guy in Another World. That is a bridge too far, even for isekais. But there are other shows that I've just decided to cut loose because we just can't. After these shows, I have lost credibility, and so even if I wanted to, I cannot continue watching premieres. It's time to move on because I have been stringing along my watch partners. My promise was, of course, once we finish our vegetables, we would get to dessert, which is resuming Dan to Dan. Every week,
that's the carrot you've been dangling in front of them.
Yes, every week they beg me, please, this week can we go back to Dan to Dan? I say no. No, we are finishing these premieres. We have got to get through. And they drew a hard line, and I don't blame them considering what we watched.
I see. So this decision is more because you're trying to quell the bubbling revolt stewing amongst your crew. This is a practical decision.
I've run out of rope. There is no slack anymore. I have to cut loose.
They're about to make him walk the plank.
Yeah, back to Dan we go. And just in time, too, because, man, like I said, the shows we watched were bafflingly bad. And, this is coming off of a lot of glowing reviews, I would say, for one season. Maybe the most glowing reviews of a season we've given since we started this show. I would really have to go back and check, but I think
would have to check.
True.
But I think that's probably the case. We were just talking about this season is. I'm keeping current with the most shows in a single season than I ever have before.
Yeah, and good ones.
And yes, and so
some
four,
of them are good.
Yeah, at least four good ones, maybe 3 or 4 bad ones. But none of these that we're going to talk about today. These are really stuff that I think it's fair to say that we both bounced off of episode 1 of each of these today.
Bounced off is a polite way to put it.
Yeah.
Because let's get into it. Because Hotel Inhumans is probably the least. To me, it was the least offensive on this list. Hotel Inhumans was the first one we watched, and when I explained the premise being, this is an anime about the hotel from John Wick.
Yeah, it's John Wick 2. It's the hotel from John Wick 2 specifically.
Yeah, Hotel Artemis from like that movie that they made that was, I think, an off-brand John Wick. I immediately groans, just pathetic groans. And I said, okay, it's all right. Let's just give it a shot. And I felt bad immediately because it's just the most boilerplate stock bullshit. You know, I've said many times, the first sign of like script writing 101 hacks is let's do assassins.
Don't do assassins. Don't do bounty hunters. Don't do grizzled gunslingers on their last leg. It's been done by much better people than you.
It's not that it's impossible to tell stories about those kind of characters. It's just that is literally the first move every fucking like beginner scriptwriter goes to because they're like, oh, well, I don't have any ideas.
Every dude that looks like he fell off of Quentin Tarantino in a video store tries to write an assassin story as their first script.
Yeah, and they almost all suck. Like, they almost all suck.
So,
and John Wick actually is a great example of it because if you look at any of the actual, like, written parts of John Wick, the parts that aren't just pure choreography, it's dog shit. It's the most boring, bland bullshit you could possibly imagine.
Well, okay, we're getting off topic here, but I just want to say my first impression of John Wick, like when someone said, hey, we're watching John Wick, and I said, what's that? And they described it to me as, oh, it's a movie about a guy that kills a bunch of people because they killed his dog. Like, yeah. The premise of John Wick is a novelty in and of itself. Like, it is a joke. It is a joke premise meant to give us an easy, like, on-ramp to just massive amounts of well-choreographed violence by Keanu Reeves.
I think people really missed it when the guy calls him the Baba Yaga.
The Baba Yaga.
That was a joke. You guys get that, right? That was a joke?
When they said, like, he's the boogeyman that you call on other boogeymen, you didn't get that was supposed to be funny?
You guys, they were telling a joke that you were supposed to laugh at that. You weren't supposed to take that seriously. That is a fucking joke. But they made three more.
Why is this guy killing all of these people, these hundreds of people? And you say, oh, well, they killed his dog. Like, that's funny.
It's funny. The 90s, I think the 90s, like, through the lens of, like, John Woo movies, where it was very funny stuff taken deadly seriously.
Yeah. Yes.
Like that has...
Ong Bak. Like, oh, why is he beating up all those guys?
Tony Jaa movies.
Yeah, no, they stole his elephant. They stole his
an
elephant,
dude. They stole a fucking elephant. That's actually way cooler than killing a dog. Like they stole the sacred elephant.
Yeah.
And Tony Jaa does not need guns.
No.
He just doesn't need them.
He's got those big old knuckles.
Yeah, he breaks people's skulls with his fucking elbows, dog. Actually, I just watched a Tony Jaa movie called Killzone 2, which is really funny.
Not based off the video game.
Yeah, not based on... Clearly had no idea about the video game. It was actually a Thai Hong Kong production, and it was the premise of that movie is that there is a mob boss who has a congenital heart failure disease or whatever it is. He needs continual heart transplants, right?
He's got fat heart.
Yeah, and so after exhausting all donors, even after setting up his own organ harvesting ring, he runs out of hearts. And the only heart he has left to steal is his own brother's heart. And because this is such an obvious play, the cops immediately try to take him into, like, witness protection. But the dude goes so hard, he, like, murders everybody. And the cops have to smuggle the fucking dude, like, out of the country. But in the process, our Hong Kong hero gets thrown into a Thai prison by mistake. And Tony Jaa is a prison guard there who is having a crisis of conscience because he realizes the prison is part of this organ harvesting ring. So together, they have to beat the shit out of hundreds of henchmen to save this guy from his own brother. And also, there is a subplot where Tony Jaa's daughter needs a bone marrow transplant, and it just happens to be the other hero. But it's really cool because Tony Jaa doesn't speak, like, Mandarin. And the Hong Kong guy does not speak Thai. So the whole movie, they are trying to like team up and fight together despite this language barrier, which is a really cool premise. There's like a lot of stuff going on in that movie, right?
They're doing a Luke Wilson and Jackie Chan in High Noon. They're doing that thing.
Yeah, but like more seriously and like less offensive, less overtly racist. Maybe not completely not racist, but both of the characters are treated with
How
respect.
could it be racist? He beats up white people.
But the point is, that is a movie where it's like there is an entire fucking plot and around the beating the shit out of people, like breaking their spines with elbows and shit. Whereas John Wick is shoot guys in the face because they're just standing in front of him.
Yeah.
And so we enter the anime Hotel Inhumans.
Right, trying to steer it back on track here.
Yeah, which is an even further degeneration of this concept, which is, what if John Wick happened but for no reason, and then he had to go to a hotel?
In very quick summary, Hotel Inhumans is about a hotel for assassins, and it has like an episodic nature where we kind of see these different cliched crime stories told from the perspective of the two people who run the hotel. That's the basic premise. You know, the episode that we watched was about an assassin who just had one more job until he could be reunited with his kidnapped sister, but he gets betrayed, and I mean, that's basically it. That's you can extrapolate everything you need from there.
It's a fucking blockbuster back of the box movie.
Yeah.
Plot ass bullshit. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it. And the hotel is run by supposedly mysterious twins.
I don't think they're twins. They have different names. They're never described as brother and sister. It's, you know, you have your archetypical,
but they have twin energy.
They've got twin energy. You've got a Rick Moranis guy who's like the head concierge, and his thing is that he's really good at gathering information, and he's the, you know, he's the computer guy, I'm assuming, at some point. And then you have the blonde, she's supposed to be a maid, kind of. She's kind of got not like a sexualized maid outfit, but like a hotel uniform kind of thing going on, and she's very good at violence. That's her thing. It's called Gap Moe.
Yes, we've seen this 100 million times. It's about as standard as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Do you remember when I talked about a manga I was reading which made a very, very explicit Tarantino reference right at the top called Diner?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Chainsaw Man. Yes, I remember Diner.
No, Diner makes an even more explicit.
Yes, no, they're doing the Diner from fucking Pulp Fiction.
It starts with Bunny and Pumpkin, right?
Yeah.
That's his name, Pumpkin?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Bonnie and Clyde, and they get immediately fucked up. And then it becomes a story about a woman who's forced to work at a diner for assassins, which is at least a twist on this plot, right? Because it's kind of funny and weird, like focusing on the food that assassins eat.
Well,
right?
it's doing a classic.
Kind of fun.
It's doing a play on a classic like show archetype, which is, you know, in Japanese television, there's tons and tons of these shows that are just, you know, episodic shows about a restaurant, and each episode is, you know, a different mini story of a patron that goes in there. That's a very classic, like, daytime television trope in Japanese TV. You know, we've talked about it. Yeah, that's not exactly the same thing.
A guy goes into a restaurant every week.
No, it's a different guy goes into the same restaurant every week. That's the structure.
I can't understand that. I can't understand. That's too far. That's
okay,
too far afield.
It's beside the point here, but that's what Diner was trying to like do. It's like, hey, what if we did that, but like each week, you know, instead of just like a person who has a sad love story from their past, that they told to a service industry worker, which, by the way, don't do that. They don't want to hear your sad story.
Or you better fucking tip like crazy. Sorry, we live in a tip economy. You better be dropping like crisp bills.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna fucking talk their ear off.
For sure. But instead of that, it's like, what if they were assassins and gangsters? That's kind of like a little bit more of a clever play on this whole thing than just straight up ripping off the hotel from John Wick 2.
Yeah. I hated this so much. I did not watch it all the way.
You didn't even get to the end of the first
turn it off.
episode.
I could not even get to the end. I like at the back half, I had to just kill it because I could not stand it.
Yeah,
because the animation is also very bland and bad. It's just not good.
Yeah, it's very middle of the road, not striking in any way.
It looked like Attack on Titan.
A little bit.
I know that sounds like praise because I guess people like the animation in that show. But the characters had Attack on Titan eyes and it looked very bad.
The first episode ends with the assassin that they're helping that week, who is looking for his lost sister after being betrayed by the Yakuza. It ends with him finding out that his sister is dead, but she had a daughter that looks exactly like her the last time he saw her. So
yes, which is something you realize literally 2 minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
It's that obvious.
Yeah.
Like, why even like beat around the bush this long?
They did it better in John Wick, and I'm not particularly attached to those films. At least they were funny.
Yeah, I watched all the 90s blockbuster assassin movies. This is exactly that, but even dumber and condensed to 10 minutes.
Now, if each episode was explicitly riffing off of one of those film franchises, that might actually be like something to bite into. Like, imagine an episode that's just a straight up ripoff of Ballistics: X versus Sever.
Oh, I was going to say Leon the Professional.
Oh, sure. Well, it goes without saying that they're going to do a Leon the Professional episode.
They have to, right?
Yeah, it's in the contract.
Some French guy shows up with a little girl, and he's like, "I must go to the hotel with my little girl."
And he's voiced by Jean Reno.
And they're like, "Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, hey, that's totally cool with us. This is a Japanese hotel. That is perfectly legal."
Jesus Christ. But yeah, if they were like explicitly riffing off of movies with these and being like very, make it a parody, make it a Zucker Brothers Airplane style parody comedy. That's something. But this is like,
yeah, I hear those are back, by the way.
They're back in a big way.
They're back.
Yeah.
They're making money at the box office.
Liam Neeson's dating Pamela Anderson. We live in a brave new world.
That movie was so good, it made Liam Neeson forget about his dead wife.
Oh, I wish I could forget about the gray.
No, I like wolf punching. Project Wolf Punching.
Hey,
that shit was
people,
sick.
By the way, when he punches the wolf at the end of that movie, that's a joke. It's supposed to be funny.
That's funny. It's fucking funny. And we laughed in the theater. And the one other guy in there with us got mad.
Got mad and walked away.
He got mad.
Oh boy.
Shit.
Okay. Enough about Hotel Inhumans.
Yeah, it does not even deserve that many non sequiturs. It's just it's criminally boring. Very boring. The most boring show this season. Like, not the worst, but the most boring.
Yeah, I got to agree. And we harped on The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity quite a bit for being like boring as fuck.
That is bland, but like I can easily, like a warm bath, I can easily slip into a generic rom-com because that's easy. That's easy,
It's digestible. This...
It is easily digestible. I won't fall asleep, at least.
This was not it, unfortunately.
This was not it.
Oh, man. All right. Can I tell you about something else that I found to be extremely bad, but for completely different reasons?
Yes. Let's move on. What else did you watch?
This week, I watched the first episode of Necronomico and the Cosmic Horror Show.
Something I was interested in because it seemed like it had the potential to be a death game.
Well, you were on the right track there. I can confirm for you right up front, it is, in fact, a death game. It's a death game.
I got a good nose for these. I got a good nose for these things.
You are lured in thinking that it's going to be a kind of somewhat comedic take on VTuber rivalries, because we're introduced to our main girl character, who is a 20-year-old NEET who is, as far as I can tell, and I'm going to be honest, I did not catch a lot of plot points with this episode because, as we mentioned last time, there have been issues with the subtitling and the use of AI therein.
Right.
I use the catch-all term AI, but, it was an auto translator / caption creator.
Yes.
That they ran the dialogue through, and basically the, audiobook version of Google Translate.
Yes, controversy. This show had controversy upon launch.
Yeah, the version that I was able to obtain was not the Netflix version that had fixed subtitles at this point. I've been bumming off my friend's Netflix account. They finally caught on that I don't live at the same address, and they blocked it. They shut me down.
Damn, I really want to know how bad those subtitles were that people actually complained.
Well, the version, no, I'm saying that I did not see the corrected version. I saw the bad AI version.
Oh, you saw the bad one. Okay,
Yeah.
great, because yes, that is way more interesting to me.
They're pretty bad. It really oscillates a lot between pronunciations of character names. Seems to be the big
great.
one. The main character's name may be Mayu or Maku or Maya or Mako, depending on the scene.
So it's up to you. You get to choose.
Yeah, you really get to choose.
That's cool.
There is some very awkward, very direct literal translations of, common Japanese verbiage and phrases that don't make any sense when you just do a one-to-one translation. That kind of stuff. And mostly the premise of it being a death game is very much lost in this translation until they explicitly say the words in English, death game, at the end of the episode.
Yes, this is a thing I've noticed. They do say death game in English. This is one of those English words that have just been fully adopted.
Yeah. A death game.
Like critical hit. They will say in English sometimes. Stuff like that. A lot of video game terms they just say in English.
I've been noticing quite a bit that it's like a cute, quirky thing to have your female lead say thank you in English. And not always at the appropriate time, just as an accent to whatever you're saying at the moment. It's you say see you later, thank you. But in English,
Yeah.
Been noticing that one a lot. Anyway.
Oh, that's been a while. I've heard that for a long time now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so we have our main girl. She's a streamer, and she's dealing with the illness of a friend. Her her stream partner that she used to work with, who suddenly one day had a mysterious collapse midstream and has been in a catatonic state. In hospital.
Streamer's disease.
Yeah, it is. That's the premise. They have these cryptic news reports playing on the TV in the background, talking about how the 100th VTuber has collapsed and entered hospital today due to a mysterious disease that only affects streamers that have more than 100,000 followers.
More than 100,000.
More than if you have.
Okay, so we're safe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're nowhere near the danger zone.
We're gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
And so she is dealing with the emotional burden of her best friend being basically in a coma. but also her friend is going to get kicked out of the hospital because streamers don't have health insurance.
We need streamers' rights. We need a streamer's bill of rights now.
And she's kind of she's been, mooching off of her family member who may be her uncle, or maybe just referred to as an uncle, as like a placeholder for meaning, older male friend.
Sure.
Like platonic older male friend.
Yeah, like the way they use it in the triads.
Yeah, exactly. She's got this uncle who is a cross-dresser, a drag queen who runs a bar. By the way, apparently running a drag bar in Tokyo pays way better than being a streamer. Because this person is like, oh yeah, I'll cover your rent for the next 3-4 months, but you got to work for it. You got to wash dishes.
Wow.
You got to wash dishes and stuff like that.
God damn.
And she gets mysteriously invited to play test a new multiplayer game geared towards the streaming community. And she goes to an abandoned amusement park at midnight with like 100 other streamers that all got invited.
Wow, 100.
Yeah, there's hundreds
That's
of them.
a lot.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, so what we eventually get into is that this game that they're all going to be playtesting is like an immersive VR version of Fall Guys.
Okay.
Where when they get into the VR pods, they get transferred into the game world, at which point we fully transition to very cheap looking 3D animation of their avatars, as opposed to like actual animation.
Yeah.
The game is basically a combination of Miiverse and Fall Guys, where you get like an avatar that looks kind of like a 3D, like low poly version of yourself,
right?
Put into this world, and you have to go through various kind of like obstacle course tests that get increasingly difficult as you go along.
Yeah, of course, we're all familiar.
And so they're all her and of course her biggest rival streamer is there. They're both participating, and a bunch of other people. They're all trying to like get through this first obstacle course to get to the door at the end. And people are dying left and right, falling off platforms, until it's just her rival, and like, a handful of other people. I think one of them was like an old guy, and like his thing is that he's like a fishing streamer. Like he streams himself like fishing.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
And one of them is a pro gamer type dude.
Yep.
And he's like, this is actually easy for me. Mm-hmm. Like that's his whole character.
Of course.
Is like, this is a video game and that's what I do for a living. So I'm actually really good at this.
Absolutely stock. These are all extremely familiar to me.
Yeah. And they finally make it to the door at the end of the episode, or at the end of the level, and they go through and they're transported to an alien TV studio where the audience seats are filled with like weird Lovecraftian kind of jelly monsters. But
cool.
It's not as cool as you're thinking, because there's only 3 monster designs and they just copy paste them like in the same pattern on every row.
Yeah.
It looks very cheap. And they're presented in front of a panel of like monster alien judges that don't look monstrous. They just kind of look like sexy alien people. And they're like, yeah, hey, so actually we're outer gods, which they say in English.
Cool.
And you're doing this all for our entertainment. Because we're trapped inside they are inside of a computer game. They're trapped. The outer guards are trapped in the game. They're trapped in the computer. They're not actually from outer space. They're in the computer.
They're in the computer.
The gods are in the computer.
They're in the computer.
and they're like, all right, we're going to send you back into the real world. But if you like don't want us to kill all your families, and if you want the prize money, then you're going to have to keep coming back every week to do this. And the challenges are going to keep getting harder.
Sure, naturally.
Also, one of the judge alien gods like has the same face as main girl's friend that's in a coma. So that's like kind of, I guess, a layer of mystery that they're trying to set up here.
I see. Trying to throw a hook out.
Yeah. But yes, that was the end of the first episode. 3D animation did not look good. The 2D animation that was there was very stiff and lots of copy pasted background character models. Background like set details were not great. And I could not really understand a lot of the finer details of the speech because of the bad subtitles. So this is all an approximation of what I think people were saying, by the way. It really was increasingly hard to tell at certain points.
Well, that's kind of fun, though, because that means it's a lot of it's up to your own interpretation, right?
Yeah.
You could kind of make up your own plot.
In fact, I'm kind of hoping that everything that I just described now I got completely wrong.
Yeah.
Just I don't know if I'm gonna go back. Maybe what I'll do is when the last episode comes out, I'll go back and check up on it.
Well, you know what? If you just tell me what happens in the last episode, just from my knowledge of death games, I think I could mentally construct the entire season.
Okay, go right now. We're gonna check back in when the final episode comes out. You tell me right now what you think the catharsis of the final episode is going to be like.
Well, I need to know what the reveal is, because if they're actually like aliens or whatever, that changes a lot of stuff. What I had pictured, essentially, I will tell you this right now. Once I got the vibe that this was going to be a death game, I kind of assumed that this was going to be like, do you know Skill House? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about Skill House.
Yeah, the 50 Cent death game, like influencer death game movie, where they're all trapped together and they have to do influencer stuff. And if they're not good enough, they die.
Yeah.
I kind of assumed it was going to be like that, where they all get trapped together and they still have to stream to their audiences, because this is also very similar to a death game that I happen to really like. Well, really like is maybe hard. Where the idea is that the characters are all much like this, right? There's 100 of them, and they all get trapped in what is essentially an obstacle course where there are stops where they play specific games. But the idea being that their social media following is what determines whether they drop out or not. And then it is revealed later at the end that if they lose, all of their social media followers also die, which creates a really fun dynamic.
That's getting an anime soon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they announced an anime for that one. It was Link something?
Link something. No, I don't think it was Link something.
Oh, Dead Account. Dead Account.
Yes, Dead Account.
Yeah, that's getting an anime soon.
Deaka. Yes, Dead Account is... that is... this is going to be one of those things, so please don't judge me too much if you go and read it and you're like, this is dumb as fuck. Because, don't get me wrong, it is pretty stupid. But in the grand pantheon of death games, I think Dead Account ended up doing like much more interesting stuff than a lot of these other ones. There are a lot of death games where people end up in a video game like world, right? Or an alternate AR version of our world where they have to do like crazy shit. There's one called Blackout that I really like that got canceled like very early on in its run. But ones like that, and I think Dead Account is one of the only ones that gets close to the King of the Hell, which is obviously As the Gods Will. And I like it a lot. This one does not sound like it's really reaching for the stars.
No, and I kind of glossed over because I assumed that it was implied, but like I didn't have to say that when they come out of the video game, the people that died in the game died in real life. Like that was assumed, right?
It would be more surprising if they didn't.
Yeah. No, they come out of their VR pods and all the people that fell off the platforms in the first level are like like strung up and strangled, and they're like hanging in the air by the wires of their VR pod.
That is kind of surprising because usually they would just be brain dead.
No, the pods themselves killed them, apparently.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
So it's got that going for it, at least, which is, not a whole lot. I was not impressed by this one.
Sure, die in the game, you die in real life.
Yeah,
Yeah, we all get it.
We all get it. Okay, surely you've got something better than that, right?
Okay, that was Necronomico. I'm glad at least that it was a death game, and I was right about that part. So I watched something that I didn't think was going to be a death game, but I was really hoping it would be, called Nine Ruler's Crown. Do you remember bringing this one up?
Vaguely. I remember bringing it up at the beginning of the season when we were going over stuff to pay attention to. Nine Rulers Crown?
It is 9 Ruler's Crown.
The sequel to the Daniel Day-Lewis musical 9.
That would be an interesting twist, but unfortunately it is much more boring than that because it is what I had said originally was it was sort of like a witches versus serial killer kind of plot, which I thought kind of ruled. I thought that would kick ass. But that is not the plot that I really picked up from the first episode. Again, much like Necronomico, I believe this must have had problems in the translation stage of production because the subtitles we ended up with were almost incomprehensible. I mean, some of the stuff that they were talking about just was absolute gibberish nonsense. So that might have hampered my enjoyment a little bit, but it did not take much for me to write this off pretty quickly. There was one good move in episode 1, which is they introduce us in like the first 5 minutes, we are dropped into like the finale of some kind of crazy fucking isekai fantasy show, and all kinds of insane, like stupid anime shit is happening. And then it is revealed that is actually just like on a screen that they're doing for a cosplay event. So it's like a big pump fake, right?
Sure, classic move.
Yeah, which is great. And it got all of us. We were like, oh, shit, that was really good. They really pulled it off. They really did it very well.
They do that as they do that exact same thing as the opener for the second season of My Dress Up Darling, but they do it way better, probably.
Maybe not. You'll have to watch this episode, I guess. Unfortunately, that is the best that the episode gets. We then spend like 20 minutes following around the most boring person in the world as he walks to and from school and occasionally stops to eat at a local diner. That takes up 90% of the episode. And then in the last like 2 minutes, something crazy happens, which is him and his friends go to the park and they see a stone statue of a girl who is in their class.
Okay.
And then her fingernail falls off and there's blood everywhere. And they realize, oh shit, I guess this isn't a statue. Lots of implications there. But after being bored out of our fucking minds by everything that preceded it and the complete gibberish that was the subtitles, I found it impossible to care. I think there was something about a curse, something like some kind of magic orb was shattered at a shrine at the beginning, but nobody made a big deal of it. Not even the people who like worked at the shrine seemed to really care. So I wasn't sure whether this was supposed to be surprising or not. It didn't seem like a big deal, but I guess that must have had some kind of implication to the stoning of this girl at the very last minute.
Hey, who got this girl stoned? Who stoned this girl?
Oh, the one other twist in the entire show was that obviously our extremely boring main character boy has a little like one of those like little cute androgynous boyfriends at school, right?
As you do. We all have one.
Yeah, which is usually the character that is, right, he's like kind of the one who's popular with girls and is kind of slick, right? Mm-hmm. But in this one, the little androgynous boy, kind of pixie boy, is the creepy like perv character, which I guess is like the other big twist.
I suppose that is a shake-up in certain archetypes that you don't see a lot of.
Yeah.
You know, progress in anime is when the queer-coded and androgynous characters can be pervs too. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
That's what progress looks like.
But not predatory gays. Because that's usually what they would do with that kind of character if they weren't like the suave, like chick magnet androgynous.
Well,
boy.
yeah, that right there is the entire premise of there's no freaking way I'll be your lover.
yeah, exactly. So, man, I'm sure something must be up with this show at some point, but between the really bad character designs, extremely budget animation, and just the complete lack of respect to the audience's like time made this insufferable. My jaw was on the floor that they considered this like acceptable for an episode 1.
Okay.
Like, honestly.
I'm looking at some stuff about it right now. I'm looking at some screenshots. First impression, I was not expecting this to be a moe like anime, but this is very like this is moe gotcha game girl kind of coded in its character design.
Yeah.
A lot of characters where you can only really tell them apart by their hair and what kind of stockings they're wearing as part of their school uniform. So that's a choice there. But what is it about? I still don't quite get what it's about.
Okay, so an orb shatters at a shrine.
Uh-huh.
A girl finds a hair clip on the ground.
Uh-huh. Right?
And then another girl we don't know, who was never introduced, is found in the park, and she's a stone statue. That's it.
They don't even try and hook you. They just give you a bunch of non sequitur plot points in the first episode.
Oh, also the main character finds a stuffed animal on his way home from school, and the stuffed animal's kind of creepy. But he leaves it there. He doesn't take it. He leaves it there.
Well, that's a good choice. Don't pick up stuff off the ground. That's gross.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
There are various, very inconsequential, interpersonal dramas that happen. Like, his sister is way too into him, and he constantly has to tell her to, get away from me. She breaks into his apartment at some point, and he tells her to get the fuck out. Like I said, the weird androgynous boy that he's friends with is a perv. There's a girl who does official cosplay but gets uncomfortable when she has her picture taken, which seems very strange. None of these things matter. They're just very inconsequential character interactions that is just setting up why these people would interact with each other at all, right?
Uh-huh.
But unfortunately, that takes up, like I said, 90% of the episode, which is this incredibly rote, boring, interpersonal drama between characters who could not be less interesting if you, set out to make them the most boring, bland people in the world. And I believe that is why they tried super hard with the character designs to be like, hey, look, they're like gotcha characters. Look, this girl, she's got a super crazy braid on her head and huge purple eyes. And look at this girl. She's really cute, right? She's at a maid cafe.
Well, I mean, you asked earlier, who is this for? And I think I have an idea now. This is for perverts and weeps. We forget about the vast amount of anime that we grew up with, that was just this thing. This is just the most recent entry in a long line of vapid moe designs with a milquetoast protagonist that has to, shuffle around his affections between all of the confusingly infatuated women in his life.
Oh, he is not interested at all. He could not be more standoffish. This character is not just asexual. He is aggressively uninterested in women.
He's not asexual, he's anti-sexual.
He is a classic chauvinist. He's if a woman like tries to show any affection to him, he gets like verbally abusive.
Wow.
It's like weird. Yeah, it's like it is not that kind of thing. But it did make, yes, there were so many of these growing up. Obviously, there's always been these. But it was funny because in the very first moments, especially after the fake out, I was like, okay, maybe we're going to get something to like the beginning of My Hime, right? Which is a big touchstone for me because as, you know, as cliche as it was, that was one of those first like magical girl subversion shows that like actually got me.
You know what?
That was the thing I watched.
Yeah, no, you and I both.
That one I watched by accident back in the early streaming days where people would just run their own streaming servers like completely anonymously.
God, I missed that.
Yeah, it was great. You would just click on them and see like what users were streaming that day. And it was always like some crazy anime you'd never heard of, or the guy who played all the released Simpsons episodes in a row 24/7. Just shit like that.
I mean, that's heroes work. Yeah, that's fighting the good fight.
That was, I mean, you know, again, constant refrain now of our lives is like, I don't want to sound like the old guy who was like in my day, but like, honestly, that was a golden era of the internet. Like truly, you could turn around every corner and find some like insane shit that was beautiful and weird.
Okay.
And now they're just, you cannot do that.
All right, Grandpa.
You can't do that. You can't do it.
Kids these days.
You got to go to these piracy sites that are always under threat of being shut down. I don't want to get into it, but we did just actually have another massive crackdown on anime piracy sites. I don't know if you saw that, but there was another wave of people getting banned.
It was literally my Grenada.
Yeah, a lot of sites went down again. Not mine, but you know, luckily.
Yeah, no,
not
we
this
make
time.
good choices.
Yeah. But that did happen. But you just like stuff like that it just doesn't happen anymore. Maybe like if you go into like some weird discords, you can like talk to some disgusting weirdos who will hook you up or whatever. But I really was starting to get at the beginning very optimistically. I was like, maybe we're going to get something similar to like a My Hime vibe.
But no.
My Hime has a very good first episode. And this was one of the worst first episodes I've seen in a long time. Just truly offensively bland and awful. And I could not stand it. I felt like I was getting tortured.
I think of the stuff that we've talked about so far, this might actually be the worst one. And Necronomico and I've already forgotten the other one.
Hotel Inhumans.
Yeah, yes, Hotel. John Wick 2.
John Wick 2.
We're both aggressively bad. I think this looks worse just because of the moe shit.
The character designs are truly, truly awful. And the absolute lack of respect to the audience is like insulting. It is genuinely insulting. The idea that they would just straight up waste your time really pissed me off. Yeah, this fucking like made me angry. The show made me angry.
Okay, that's good because that actually elevates my final entry for the week.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that actually makes this sound way better.
Okay.
All right. So the last thing that I watched this week that I wanted to talk about was the unfortunately named A Bouquet for an Ugly Girl.
That's so funny. I think I've gotten an email like this.
Don't give anybody any money in those emails, by the way. No, this is exactly what it sounds like. It is a very, very middle of the road, safe shoujo story about a quote unquote ugly girl who, as you may guess, is like manga ugly, which is to say that
she looks like every other anime girl.
Yeah, well, I mean, she just looks like a absolutely average looking person. You know, she's the kind of she's your bochi. She's a bochi, basically, you know, as so
she has
popular
social anxiety.
So popular as they are these days. She's a girl with social anxiety who has a lot of self-esteem issues because she thinks that she looks very plain and she doesn't have a lot of fashion sense and she doesn't really have a lot of friends or any friends. That's kind of a staple of the genre is
right.
You know, you're coming off of your middle school years, you get put into a new classroom in high school, a new building, and suddenly you don't have any friends because you were too shy to talk to somebody on the first day of school,
which is crazy. It's so crazy.
I don't get this apparent
talk
like
to the people.
Well, there's
go
that.
Talk to the people you
just,
know.
Just go talk to them. Just go talk to them. Like, it doesn't matter. But it's a common thing in a lot of these manga and anime that, like, your class that you get put into for the year, like, that's locked in as the only people you are socially permitted to interact with.
The class coagulates, and then either you're in or you're out.
Yeah. Well, there's that aspect, you know, which is what I was trying to say is first day of school, you have to find a friend group or else you will not have any friends for the entire school year. I don't understand how that works. Apparently, everyone just kind of groups up into clumps and remains incredibly insular from that point on.
And isn't art clubs mandatory too?
You gotta have a club.
In that part?
Her thing is that she's part of the school beautification committee. That's her club, which is child labor. That's what it is. Instead of hiring a groundskeeper, the school makes the students do the labor for free and then calls it, and then gives them credit for it. You know, maybe it's teaching the kids to take pride in their facilities and in their ability to do work like that. I call it unpaid free labor for the state. It gets you no recognition. Anyway, her thing.
Wait, before you go any further, I just want to say, since this is almost exactly the same plot of Myrunovich. Are you familiar?
I've heard the name before. You've talked about it. I haven't read or watched it.
It's it was fairly influential back in the day. I don't know. I don't want to say it was like big because I don't know the cultural impact of a lot of these, but I got the feeling that it was like one of the more popular ones. This was by Zakuri Sato, and it was very much in a little bit of the clamp style, like very shoujo, like 90s shoujo, like ornamented, you know, like those massive, overly detailed eyes.
Mm-hmm. The clamp eyes.
Yeah, but it's like it's about this girl, almost exactly this kind of girl, back before this was all the anime girls, like a girl who had such low self-esteem that she called herself the poison mushroom. She calls herself that all the time. And that's the only reason I still remember it, which is a really funny thing to call yourself.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah.
This girl doesn't go that far, but she is constantly referring to herself as the background character.
Right.
Or she calls herself a mobu. You know, like mob.
A mob, yes. And this was, Myrunovich was before all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she does literally apologize to other characters for being ugly.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Yes, but she's not ugly. And in fact, the plot of Myrunovich is that the boy she ends up having a crush on, like, does her makeup and, like, she, like, ties her hair back and, like, gives her eyeliner. And suddenly she's like, holy shit, I'm fucking hot as hell. Like, I'm an entirely different person.
Wow, that's actually, okay, so that's incredibly, incredibly close to what we're going into with Bouquet for an Ugly Girl.
Okay, so that's why I wanted to mention it, because this was sounding so familiar.
Yeah, no, this must be highly influential on this show, if not straight up ripping it off Stephen King style. Because we have this girl, and her thing is that she's very into shoujo manga, and she refers to herself as a background character. And to be fair, like, she is kind of drawn as the stereotypical, like, version of what would be the plain girl character
Yeah.
like in a class ensemble. She's got the big round glasses, and she kind of has a bob cut, and she has freckles, and she is like, she calls herself fat, but she's just like very slightly drawn heavier than like the other people in her class, by which I mean she is like still so much more skinny than 90% of Americans.
Yeah, Americans, again, this is like Americans have completely, we have a completely different understanding than basically the rest of the world.
Yeah. And she's like constantly apologizing to people for like, she apologizes to people for wasting their time by like having to interact with her, basically.
Yeah. Yes.
And one day, because she's part of the school beautification committee, she's putting a flower arrangement on her teacher's desk in the morning because, you know, she always makes a point to be the first one in class every morning so that she can do the flower arrangement before anyone sees her. Because in her words, people would be offended by seeing an overweight person like arranging flowers.
Man, these kids need a school counselor.
They really do. Like this is
like
unhealthy,
this is tough.
Extremely unhealthy behavior.
This is really bad. Somebody has got to help these kids, man.
And you know, on a whim, one day she decides to cut a stem off of one of the flowers in the bouquet that she's arranging and puts it in her hair. And she is musing to herself that she looks slightly like her favorite shoujo manga protagonist. When in walks the hottest boy in class, who is the tall, extremely kind, smart, handsome, athletic, blonde guy.
Naturally.
Extremely cookie cutter going forward. And as is his nature, he bears her no ill will. He's just like, oh, hey, good morning.
I come in peace.
I come in peace.
I come bringing love.
He brings love. Break his legs.
Get him.
And so he's just being chill. He's just like, oh, hey, good morning. That flower looks good in your hair. And she, through the lens of her social anxiety, extrapolates this to mean that he is trying to, I guess, without outright saying it, she interprets his compliment as ungenuine to the point of mockery, and she thinks that he's making fun of her. And so
naturally. And so many such cases.
Her first instinct, as you are when you're in high school in that situation, is to take out her wallet and try and bribe him into not telling anybody else that she had a flower in her hair this morning.
That's pretty tough, man. That's tough.
And he's like, that you don't need to do that. I was just like giving you a compliment.
Hey, that is the weirdest shit anyone has ever done to me.
And through that interaction, he starts to take more notice of her as, like, you know, a person in his class, and he is making. It would be hard
to ignore a person after that. You'd be like, oh my God, it's that girl again. Oh shit.
No, that's his thing. He is 100% genuine and kind and thoughtful at all times. He's actually the kind of perfect that makes you really hate him because he's not a real person.
Sure, yeah, naturally.
He's not a real 15-year-old boy. That's not how 15-year-old boys act.
Yeah.
In fact, they probably would make fun of her for having a flower in her hair. So maybe
I don't even know if they would make fun of her. I think a normal human reaction would be like, "Oh no, it's that girl who like tried to bribe me about the hair thing." I'm like, I don't know what to do when I'm around her because that's a really weird thing.
Yes, it's extremely weird and awkward, but he doesn't seem fazed by it. He starts going out of his way to include her in conversation and like genuinely seems to like talking with her and spending time with her. And so, it's just kind of like, oh, wow, I can't believe the ugly, quote unquote, ugly girl has like a boy that wants to talk to her. Isn't that weird? Which is kind of, that's her interpretation of I think everything. But really what they're setting up is that, like with a lot of these social anxiety centered main characters, they are going to find out that as they come out of their shell with the help of this inhumanly perfect guide that is kind of slowly easing them in to socializing with their classmates just by virtue of deigning to be around them.
Yeah, a teenager Sherpa.
Yeah, basically, yeah. She is going to slowly gain more confidence in herself, which is going to make it easier for her to, talk to people and strike up genuine friendships with her classmates. That's like pretty much it. I think I've seen the whole series at this point. I can pretty much tell where this is going. But the question is, how long, I guess, is she going to keep up the act of like, oh my God, I'm such a piece of trash. I'm so ugly. I'm so fat. Everyone hates me. I wish that I could just not exist. Because as tragic as that is to see a young person with self-image issues like that, it's exhausting. It's tiring.
That's tough.
Particularly like seeing people beat themselves up like that, especially when it's made explicitly clear by both other characters and just the narrative of the show itself that it is all in her head, entirely.
Yeah.
Every piece of conflict, there is no conflict. There is no conflict in the show. Conflict is her creating a straw man argument of these other classmates and how they're definitely going to say the absolute worst thing that she could think of for them to say to her. And then her being super surprised that they don't say the incredibly hurtful, mean things that she thinks about herself, to her.
Yes. Which is a fairly common thing. I will say about this one in particular, one is that, like I said, this sounds so much like Myrinovic. It's kind of crazy. Except you didn't mention that the boy is into makeup.
Oh, that's sorry. That's where I was trying to get at that. It is going forward. It's revealed, I'm pretty sure. It's implied in the first episode. I'm pretty sure they're going to reveal it next episode if I watch it, that the boy, the imperfectly human, or the inhumanly perfect, nice boy, works at his family runs a flower shop. And that is why he is so interested in her flower arranging.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
That's slightly less interesting to me. I would say every one of these things that you've mentioned about this show is done better in Myrinovic. And also Myrinovic has really snappy writing and is very funny. And the boy that is into her, she doesn't immediately realize she's into him because he is not the perfect boy in class. He is everybody kind of treats him like a weirdo because he is tall and handsome, but also he's a boy who's into makeup, and most of the kids think that is incredibly weird, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he doesn't care, and that's what everybody gets mad at him about, is that he literally doesn't give a shit that they think he's weird. And he's not originally the main target of affection. She likes another dude who is more of a generic guy. And so the relationship develops in sort of a weirder, less smooth way, which I really like. But mostly that Myrinovic has a lot of really, really snappy writing, which I really like. But the second thing is that this entire plot line gets speedrun in the background of Asobe Asabase by the school council president, who we are introduced for most of the show as sort of a Gyaru. And she's the mean popular girl. We get the idea that she's a mean popular Gyaru until it is her entire backstory is revealed in one page of the manga, and it's this page. Look at this. This is her entire backstory. So she is exactly that character who has like beady eyes, and she considers herself ugly and a background character, and she doesn't know what to do until one day she's walking the halls and literally a JoJo character stops her and goes, "Oh dear, you're naked," because she's not wearing makeup. And then he puts makeup on her and she turns into the super popular like school council president Gyaru. And that's done in literally 2 pages, and it's fucking great and hilarious, and Asabase just fucking kicks ass. It's so good. And by the way, I mean literally a JoJo character. Like,
yeah, no, it's
literally.
It's Giorno. That's Giorno's costume.
He has Giorno's costume, yeah. It's fucking great. It's really great.
What I'm slowly realizing as we talk about this is that Bouquet for an Ugly Girl is actually literally a gender-swapped version of My Dress-Up Darling. They're the same story, just swapping genders and swapping out cosplay for flower arranging.
And I guess that's gender equality, huh?
That's progress, people. That's progress.
I guess that's progress.
Oh, and by the way...
Or maybe it's regression.
By the way, when, like, the super extroverted, cute Gyaru cosplayer, like, says that she wants to go out with the socially anxious shut-in who, like, only makes sexy costumes, that's a joke. That's supposed to be funny. Like, you're supposed to be laughing at them.
Yeah. Because she sucks and he sucks. But not for the ways that you think they do. For completely different hidden ways that we know because we're media literate.
Yeah, exactly.
We have the media literacy.
We went to college.
Well, sort of. Kind of.
I walked by a college.
I've been on campus. Let's say that. How about that? Yeah, so I guess just read Myrunovich instead.
Yeah, read Myrunovich.
You'll get the exact same setup.
Or read Asobe Asobase.
Or you should really read Asobe Asobase, or even just watch the anime, which is also really well done and has a lot of animation, a lot of really good animation. Asobe Asobase kicks ass, dog. That shit fucking rules. It's really good. Yeah. So wow, that's. Is that it? Are we free? Are we done now? Are there any other premieres you're intending to watch? Because I'm done. I'm done.
You're throwing in the towel. You're throwing in the towel at this point.
I'm done.
Which is commendable. It's understandable. I would not blame anybody for that.
Nor should you.
Let's see here. Is there anything that I can still stomach? There's still dealing with the Shiunji children, the incest harem anime.
God, no.
Oh, and Secrets of the Silent Witch. Did you already watch that one?
No, I did not watch that one. I was thinking about it.
That one actually I kind of wanted to watch.
I mean, it does seem very
to keep
popular.
with Season of the Witch.
Yeah. I would have lined that up, but like I said, I've run out of rope. I do not have the leeway now to add another to the list. We've got to go back and watch Dan to Dan now. All
right. I think that maybe that's it. I think that maybe that's it for your anime summer 2025 spring summer anime 2025.
Just to cap it off, then let's list out what we're watching. I've got on my list Hikaru ga Shindanatsu, Hanako-kun, Dan to Dan, Gachiakuta. I'm going to watch City the Animation on my own, apparently, because my watch partners didn't like it as much.
A shame.
Let me take a look at the list. I'm going to watch Panty and Stalking. I'm going to watch... Maybe I might keep watching Clevitas because I have read almost all the manga. And Taco P's Original Sin. So that's like 8 shows, basically.
That's commendable. That's about what I've got. I've also got The Summer Hikaru Died. I've got Gachiakuta. I've got See You Tomorrow at the Food Court, although that only has 1 episode left, unfortunately. Not as many people seem to be latching onto that one as me, but I still stand by it.
Sure. Well, Takopi is only 6 episodes, and it's incredibly popular.
I've got Dan to Dan. I've got Fermat's Cuisine. I've got With You and the Rain, about the Tanuki. I've got My Dress Up Darling Season 2. You're not going to take it away from me. You're never going to take it away from me.
Oh, my God.
And against all of my better judgment, for some reason, I have been keeping up with There's No Freaking Way I'll Be Your Lover. Unless...
You're going to figure out that unless. By the end of the season, you're going to know what that unless means.
I have to know what the unless means. I have to know.
You have to know. It's going to drive you insane.
We've already gotten to the point where the clique of like all of the school's most popular, like prettiest girls are all hopelessly in love with the main girl Bochi character and are competing against each other for her affection. We're 5 episodes in, and she's got a full-on harem at this point. It's baffling.
Well, people really like that kind of girl now. It's like a popular type of girl.
A Bochi?
Yeah. I could get into the reasons why, but it would just be a lot more psychoanalyzing.
We don't have time for that today.
Yeah. We don't have time to get into the media literacy. We got to get out. And so, like I said, I don't want this to come across, just to wrap it up again, I don't want this to come across as hating, because I bet if you listen to that, it probably just sounded like hating. But no, we are completely 100% sincere about how bad all of these shows were. They really fucking suck.
You know what? This season
really sucked.
This season is a season of high highs and very low lows. And I think that given the choice, I'd rather take that spread than a completely mid-season all the way through. That's my feeling.
I much, much prefer this than a barren season of just nothing at all to talk about. Much prefer this.
All right, beautiful, handsome, tall, sexy listeners. Go out, hit those download buttons, like, subscribe, do the calls to action that we ask you to do, because you never do. We're watching and you don't do it, but we appreciate you and love you all the same.
Take the clips and send them to people you know will hate them.
Yeah.
And hate us.
We welcome the hate at this point.
I would prefer that.
All right. Until next time, this is Anime Death Spiral?
It is, isn't it?
Bye.
Well, yeah, he's an actor. That's what they do. They're just doing what they're told. Magicians are lying to your face.